You talk about electricity, right? When electricity showed up, you didn't have to know how it worked. You just needed to know it did work. Click the switch and lights are on. Click the switch, the lights are off. It's all going to be taken care of seamlessly for all of us. But XRP, as that key, it connects the two parts. Connects the dimension that we're in, the third dimension, and it connects the fifth dimension where the QFS system resonates. It's a megalithic financial structure that's hundreds of millions of years old. I'm not making this stuff up. This has already been vetted and verified. It was created out of time, and it was given to us in time for our need. It takes care of everything. It has gone back and put every single financial banking transaction back to the 1700s into its ledger, its accounting system. That's where all of our financial assets and money will reside. It's already there right now. Your money in your bank account is reflected in real time on the XRPL QFS in an account called a quantum access account in your name. And there's nothing you have to do. And I want to be very, very clear on this. And you know why, Jesse? There are scammers out there, there's imposters, there's bots, all playing on the ignorance of everyone, trying to convince them that they need to do something through them in order to put their stuff on the system. There's nothing you need to do.
I just wanted to reiterate that is the fact that there's people creating accounts called the Missing Link Live with our picture, with saying you need to join Dave XRP's, email address. And it's like, we're not putting this stuff out. If you're not hearing it come out of our mouths, don't trust anything online. No, we're not sending you emails. We're not going into comments saying, hey, you need to go here and click this email address. They've created a Telegram account in our name. They've created a Rumble account in our name. I've actually had to speak to Rumble, WhatsApp. They're creating all of these accounts in our names. Dave's experienced this a lot, where they're creating these fake accounts, making it look like us, putting in the comments of somebody's lives or somebody's posts or something and just saying, hey, just email us here and we'll help you with that account. We're not doing that. I'm not doing that. We're not. I've had, ever since we had Dave on, we've been hit hard on our Rumble. We've been hit on these other places where I actually had to contact Rumble to get, this fake account deleted. I'm not sure what they did. I blocked them. I banned them forever. But it said the Missing Link Live, like our name, our picture, but it had 0 subscribers, right? I think we got like 7,500 subscribers. This was a 0 subscriber account. So be diligent before you ever, try to trust anything. We're not sending out that information, but make sure you look at what's going on, what these Telegram accounts are. Make sure they're not fake accounts, because there's so many of those scammers out there that are preying upon people right now, because everybody is, interested, curious on what's going on, waiting for all this stuff to happen. So just be careful, because there's lots of scammers out there, and I'm not sending anything, and I don't think Dave is sending anything out there. So just be weary of anybody that's doing that in the comments. Hey, email us, because these are lots of scams that are going out there right now.
Yes. And I want to comment on it briefly. Understand that there are operations that are going on daily to catch these people. So they're putting information out there to bait them as well, to catch them. But if anybody is asking you to do something, move something, send them something, that's your red flag right there. Just block them, report them, and move on. There's nothing you need to do at this point. And I want to make that doubly clear. it's all being taken care of for you. As long as you've moved any digital assets that you have or assets off of an exchange and you control it through ownership, through your cold wallet, where you have the passphrases to claim ownership, there's nothing you need to do. It's all being reflected onto the quantum financial system in an account called a quantum access account, QUAC. And that's why we have redemption centers. So you don't hear them talking about redemption centers. No, they don't want you to know about redemption centers. And they don't want to spend, any more time on it other than to let you know it's all fake. But it's also part of the global White Hat Military Alliance. Their projects to catch these people. And the moment they catch one, 5 pop up, like, whack-a-mole. And so many of them are bots and they're electronic. Well, they have the best AI computer system in the universe. Let's put it that way. So anything that's going on, they know everything. They know who took it, where it's at, and it's all being monitored. And then I'll close with this. Know that God is in 100% control. And whatever's been stolen in his word, it says that he requires it to be returned sevenfold once the thief is known or caught. Now, it's frustrating because, Jesse, myself, and others, we're trying to run our platforms to get information out to people that's based on truth. And we're having to contend with this stuff going on because people still have a little bit of that self-inflicted narcissism wanting to go for the shiny thing, trying to get the quick buck. Don't worry about that. There's so much that's being given back. And God set it all up before the beginning of time, before we were even here. That's why he put all the gold in the ground and it just continues to remake itself. Oil just remakes itself. The moment it's used, it just makes itself. Water. There's more water under the ground than you can imagine. So we don't have shortfalls with this stuff. But what we do have is common sense that people need to tap into and not be so eager because of what we've had to go through to try to make a quick buck. With some of this technology that's coming out, I was telling Jesse in the last show, 200 years more life because of the healing technology. And the stuff that I've been reporting on is now starting to make it to the surface, and it's all being confirmed. So we want to have illness. Hello.
Yeah, that's amazing. We have a question here from Red Rocked. How do we show our XRP ownership at the redemption centers? Previous video said not to bring cold wallets, ledgers, nanos, etc.
When you go to the redemption center, you have to present yourself by yourself and for yourself. So you're going to have to show 2 forms of identification. Prior to that, you're going to have to call a regional call center. You'll be notified. And you'll call the regional call center and they'll ask for your zip code, your area code. And they will connect you to one of the 8 regional call centers within 50 miles of where you live. Now, there's there's probably close to 20,000 redemption centers now. Yeah. I mapped it all out. There's about 182 million people between 24 and up that have to go through. Right? Because you've got money coming. Why would you not go? Unless you don't care about it. In which case, it'll just go to everybody else. But you'll show up, you'll have an appointment time, you'll be told what to bring. And when you show up, the first thing I do is verify you because they don't want to give it to somebody else. So you'll have to answer a few questions and show a couple utility bills, that type of thing, along with passport, driver's license, etc. But they already know who you are. Every single digital token, all 27,000 of them, they all sit on the Xrpl. They're not on any devices. So think of it like a big filing cabinet. An XRP is the key that opens the filing cabinet. So they can go in and know exactly what you own, when you bought it, what price you paid. Now you're going to know what you own, right? So if you walk in there and someone says, "Oh, you got 25 XRP," you're going to go, "Wrong. I've got 22,875 XRP." And they're going to go, "Yes, that's the correct answer." But it's not going to be a big drawn out process. And all this came about as I was working through the evaluation committee with Jimmy Valley, understanding how the Nasara Jasara component was going to play into the quantum financial system. See, we had this long drawn out process, hundreds of attorneys, hundreds of documents that would have to be signed. You have to give approval. You have to do this. You have to do that. How are we going to do that in a timely manner? And one day the Lord just dropped it on me. He says, "Dave, why would I make this complicated when we can deal with it in less than 2 minutes at the Redemption Center when we're getting everybody their restoration and their reclamation and repatriation? All we have to do is ask them if they want to participate. It's voluntary." Now, the thing you need to understand is if somebody chose not to participate, there is no market after that. You don't get a second chance. It's very much like a tender offer. So when a company gets bought out and they go private, they offer them a price and it's good for a certain number of days. And if they don't take the offer, they can keep their stock certificate as a trophy, but there is no market to go and try to sell it. And the same thing would happen with XRP. So back to the X. Okay. Because of its purpose and what it was created to do, nobody can own it. It can only be managed. And that's what Ripple does. Ripple's the fiduciary. They were the ones entrusted to make sure it operates and functions properly. David Schwartz is the one who was designated as the mechanic. He's the genius. He's the one that has enough smarts to take the instructions from the Space Alliance to know how to do and get it to do what they needed it to do in the third dimension. And this is my example. Jesse lives in a gated community and the speed limit's 5 miles an hour. No exceptions. They've got the ticket people everywhere. They're just waiting for somebody to come ripping through the neighborhood. Jesse's got a Ferrari. He can't drive more than 5 miles an hour. But wait a minute, that Ferrari can go hundreds of miles an hour. It's not built to be in a gated community where it can only go 5 miles an hour. So what is it really worth? It's not worth much. And that's what's happened with XRP, the token. They've had to dumb it down so that it could perform its duty on the three-dimensional internet, which is terrible because of viruses and bugs and hacking and this and that. But it wasn't designed to operate there. So they've had to play it down. And because it's the best of the best, it's still better than anything else. But they can't talk about it because it's almost too much for people to comprehend. Now, I will tell you that during my pricing discovery and during revelation that I received, it can operate at whatever speed is necessary in terms of fulfilling transactions per second. And that all came through a dream that I had. I've shared it before, but I had this dream where I was standing in a room, and if you orient yourself, north is in front of me, south is where I am. I'm at about 5 o'clock. Einstein is at the chalkboard. He's up at about 11 o'clock, and there's 3 gentlemen over to my right. I can't see him, but I can hear him. And they're telling Einstein we have to remove the E, and E equals mc squared. And I'm just frantic. I'm bawling my eyes out, and I'm saying, we can't remove the E. We can't remove the E. And I wake up from the dream, and I don't dream very often, but when I do, it's a doozy. And I didn't understand the dream. I had nothing to relate it to. I told it to Jimmy Valley. Didn't make any sense to him either. Well, here we are in the valuation committee, and I'm telling Jimmy, everything has changed because now we're in the quantum realm. We have to process transactions because XRP opens up the lock so that every single transaction in the world, Jesse, has to be reported, recorded, and stored. And that value is $1. So every transaction in the world that's at least $1 is going to be on the XRPL in real time. Every transaction. Think about it. Nothing goes through anything else but XRP. It's the key. Nobody has permission to open up the gateway, like Stargate, and everything goes through. Here's what it does. It's backed by gold. 62.5% of it is backed by gold. And the other 37.5% is made up of silver, platinum, and nickel. So it has a hard asset that backs it. And that's what BRICS is all about. BRICS brings in the hard asset. And this comes back to the question about the CBDCs and the downfall of the dollar. The moment all 209 nations signed the BRICS Accord, they had to sign the Nassar-Jassar Accord. That goes back to May of 2020. We're almost at May of 24. So just about 4 years ago, all 209 nations in the world agreed to dump the dollar. That we had to abandon the fiat currency system, which was backed by nothing, going back to 1971, when Nixon was told by the Federal Reserve chairman they couldn't pay the debt, couldn't pay back the $200 billion of gold they borrowed to run the country from the Asian elders. The Asian elders were the storehouse for financial wealth on earth for the Lord. And they had an endless supply of gold, like a faucet. And they loaned money to all of the 300 Khazarian mafia banks in the world. And you're probably going, well, wait a minute, doesn't that make them bad? They put the money out there so the bad guys could, do more bad. Yes and no. They did it because it was a trap. And that's how they were able to take them out in the end, because they got too greedy. And when they thought Trump was out, they leveraged everything that they had 600 to 1. You imagine if you had $1 and you leveraged it to $600 and you lost? That's what happened. They lost. They lost when interest rates went up 0.25%. But Jerome Powell, 2022. And Ben Bernanke told us about that in 2009 after the financial crash. Excuse me. Because he told us, he said, we've had to take interest rates down to 0 to 25 basis points. And if we ever had to raise interest, even just 0.25%, it would bankrupt the world. So that was the tell. That was him telling us what was going to happen. And one other really cool thing, because I don't want to divert too much, is find yourself a $100 bill, one of the new ones that was created by Rosie Rios, 2009. On the left-hand side, it shows the old fiat system. Then there's a blue strip in the middle. I wish we had a picture of one.
American $100?
Yeah, American $100. The new one with all the gold, inkwell and everything on the right-hand side. But what this was, everybody, it was a timeline. It was to show us how we were coming out of the old cabal fractionalized fiat reserve banking system, which was backed by nothing, and how they controlled all the money, and how we were moving into a 100% gold asset-backed system. And we have to be really careful about words. We were on a gold standard before Nixon took us off. And he took us off the gold standard so that they could repay the debt. Yeah, there you go. Just grab one of those, like right there. Okay. So everything on the left-hand side, that represents the old fiat currency system. That blue strip, it's not quite in the middle, it's more to the right. That signifies in the timeline when we went on to the 100% gold asset-backed standard. See, they have the actual gold and assets already assayed, certified, and put onto the decentralized ledger for everything. So that's our monetary system. It's gold. So everything on the right-hand side, we got the gold inkwell, we got the gold feather pen, we got the gold numbers. That's the new system. Now, I was able to prove the timeline, and that blue strip on its left-hand side is July 24th, 2022. The far right-hand side starts with 1950. So this is a massive timeline. And I covered that in a prior video. But think about it. It was developed in 2009. It was shown in 2010, and it went into circulation in 2013. So for 11 years, we've been holding these things. We've been looking at them. And it was sitting in front of us the whole time, Jesse. The fact that we're going into a new monetary system. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Now, what they're going to do is when we have to turn in our currency, they're going to rip it. And they're going to separate it between the fiat and the gold asset backed part. So they're going to turn in the right-hand side of the bill to the US Treasury.
I don't want it. No way. That's criminal. Will be declared criminal. Any secret society is a subversion, can be viewed or is viewed as a subversion of the Constitution and the security and freedom of rights of our population, and conspiring. And the other thing is, Kennedy, JFK said, press. They abused it all. A journalist has huge responsibility. The codex means I have to completely corroborate the story left and right, and then make a decision how I want to write. Whatever I write, I'm responsible for. And if it goes wrong, well, then I go to prison because I misinformed the public, which is dangerous, can be unconstitutional, and can be a tantamount to treason, that's Title 18, 2381, or could be favoring the enemy, that is Title 50, 2389, 3089, sorry, favoring the enemy.
These are what a lot of the individuals in our movement, the infiltrators inside of the Patriot community, are going to be picked up on that basis, yes?
Yes, let me say it nicely, because when we got big weapons, we talk softly, right? Well, that shit is big stuff then. Look, you saw those hatred comments in your channel? Insulting you, calling you names, calling this like Mike Gill, the traitor in the Republican Party, insulting my comrade General Flynn of pedophilia. We take care of them because the good thing is, idiots, right? They give this information in your comment section or try to sell some stupid tokens with links. We take care of you later because you're on record. The Space Force controls all signals in space, Earth, and sub-Earth and subsea right now. Even this conversation is real time, analyzed by AI. We have AI all over, good AI. I always say before we work with AI, we have to sort out the widespread stupidity of humans. But no, no, sometimes we go to just, God gave you the brain, use your eyes. But don't worry about those hate speeches and infiltrators because we know where they are. And has anybody thought we were injected with a bioweapon with transistors, with transceivers? They wanted to use that to fry us, to kill us. But they're still in the bodies, also of the bad guys. Mm-hmm. Hey, we track them. We can listen to what they talk. It's in their body all over the place, right? Has anybody thought about that? And people say, oh, there's chemtrails over Los Angeles and Santa Monica, those bastards, the government is poisoning us, the Air Force. No. Have you ever thought of the possibilities that, yes, in the past that was true, the cabal was trying to do that? Do you think a 747 or a 737 or a 767 Tuckers over California illegal during wartime? No. Not one mosquito flies from San Diego to LA without a radar label, believe me, no. But given that the world Earth population was poisoned with a bioweapon, could it be, I'm not going to go further, could it maybe be, just think that way, that we're spraying now medicine, ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, so that this goes into your bodies, or other formulations that we know at the Space Force, at our labs, and we're very good people, you know, we got, yeah, to reverse everything. And medbeds, I have to address this.
Yes.
There's criminals out there in Holland, in Germany, in America, in wherever. In Thailand, they offer medbeds. That's a new catchphrase, medbeds. $8,000, you get fixed. These are criminals, report them to the National Guard, to the Space Force email, to the Inspector General. There's a website of the US Air Force, any crime website, I mean, email address. And if you could put it, please, Patriot, the email address of the Inspector General of the US Air Force, it's on the website, the hotline email. Please report any of those crimes also. People selling medbeds or arguing that they can give you, selling you access to QFS and Gezara Nazara. No way, Jose. Everything of that high tech you get, I promise you that. And by the way, don't swear anymore, I swear, don't. Swearing is a satanic thing. We don't have to swear. A promise is a promise to a child, to a parent, to a colleague, a friend. I promise you. And if you fail, you can excuse, I failed, I couldn't perform. That's also okay. Sometimes we want to promise, we want to do our best, and sometimes it doesn't work. So have no fear anymore, no fear. You get the technology, I promise you that. You get medbeds immediately, very soon, because people are dying. And don't despair. You get eternal life. The medbeds or these chambers exist. You go in there for a few minutes, I think 20 minutes, I'm not sure. And it's no pain, and it costs nothing. Human species will be fixed and made eternal. And the rest of the wonders will be explained by our president. It's even more cooler than that, what I just said. And the QFS finance, don't worry about money anymore. I know there's a lot of poor, majority is poor, I know that. And they're struggling to pay for food on the table. I know that. Right now, it is difficult. Yes, it's true. Let's face it. But you'll be rich. I promise you that too. You will never have to worry about materialism or money anymore. Don't go to the casinos. Stop drinking. And young people, I say it also very clearly, stop the drugs. Stop it. I talk about hard drugs. Don't take them. One, they're illegal, gets into trouble. They cost money. You don't have the money. And they destroy your body and your mind. I know that many young ones take them out of fear. They go drinking after work out of fear because they say, this is not life. This is like, they literally feel it, that something's wrong in the system, right? Of course they do. And I also drank a bit too much at times. I admit that. I don't drink anymore. I have no fun anymore. It doesn't taste because I have no fear. If you have no fear, you don't need all these things. So young people, believe you me, God is with you. You have no fear. If I tell you today, I promise you that you will never die. Never. Then where is your fear, please? And those who want to work and are smart, come to the Space Force, because our force is Earth-wide and space-wise. We need the best. And the best doesn't mean IQ test. That's bullshit. Your emotional intelligence and soul is the intelligence, how you have common sense and how you are with people. Intelligence is not if you do an MBA or not. Fuck the MBAs. That destroyed our society. Shareholder value, fuck that. Spreadsheet, fuck that. All gone.
Well,
We
so
need
much,
people.
so much
We need
of the,
people.
go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry. We need people with common sense, both feet on the ground. And yes, you can say I have concerns. Doesn't matter. Nobody has to be a superhero every day. You cannot be a superhero. I cannot be a superhero. Yeah.
Well, we were born
You
into
make
this world
mistakes.
and indoctrinated into this false reality. Like, yeah, and I actually heard you talk about this recently, how the cabal, the whole illusion of time, how they
Time is fake.
night and day. And I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about that, because I mean, I'll touch upon the fear and then I'll let you take over again. But
No problem.
It's rooted in the fiat debt prison. The fact that, like you talked about, money and health, those are the two ways I think that primarily they keep people living in fear. And then we have this artificial construct of night and day and time. So and really